It doesn't say.
Uh,
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to this solo score rush tournament once again. Back throwing yet another match right at your face. We're gonna be having none other than Moths seed free going up against Fuyushi seed 62. Fuyushi having made it out with a clean playoffs performance earlier on, and as we can see, bringing us to where we are now, facing off against one of the top seeded players in the entire tournament. But as usual, before we get on to that, I'm your host, Epic Man 2, and joining alongside me in commentary is going to be Poppy. How's your day been?
Now, this is gonna be a interesting match. I am doing great right now. We have moths, I should say, as you said, seat free. I mean, just top of the world. This is gonna be a really tough battle for Fuyushi.
Absolutely, especially with the fact that we know that we've seen both these players and... Oh, Jesus, that was a bit of an immediate pick. Okay. Alright. But yeah, so far there is at least some information that we have on like both these players. I'm a little more familiar with Moths as a player than I am with Fuyushi, but from what it looks like, they both seem to be pretty well-rounded when it comes to the earlier game as well, when it comes to this tournament specific.
Qualifiers did include some pretty physical heavy maps, but this round is going to be a little bit easier compared to that. So it is going to come down to whether or not they can hold the accuracy here. Moths, of course, I do know Moths, they are a very strong accuracy player. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we can see, going into the map is so far, it seems like Moth's actually going to be having the upper hand here by about a few thousand points, going just into the first quarter of the map. So far, pretty good scoreline from the side of Moths here. Very clean in the fact that they have not really messed up so far, whereas Fuyushi has already taken some pretty drastic drops. That's going to set them further away from the paradigm here as we go into the first course of the map here. This is once again a hybrid map made by me when I was feeling a little quirky like over a year ago, but so far Moths is doing a really good job at like really being able to pull through with a map like this specifically. So yeah.
Yeah, Moths, I think they started off with 9.6, now they're getting back to 9.7 range. Fuyushi is trying to catch up on accuracy, getting back to 99%, dropping a little bit again, but definitely not enough to match Moth's amazing accuracy right now. 18,000 score lead is what Moths is having right now. This map is not very long, so one miss would change quite drastically, but is there enough time is the main question here.
Probably not unless Moths starts dropping here, because there's only really like just less than 10 seconds of like difficulty remaining in the map, and Fuyushi taking that final drop there, that's probably put the nail in the coffin as the map closes out. Once again, this is one of the shortest maps in the entire map pool, and Moths getting, damn, that's quite a dominant score right there, 991k over, and it's literally 30,000 points of a difference, bar the 90 points needed to have, I don't know, filled the quota. But other than that, now is Fuyushi's turn to pick, as Moths is now 30,000 points accumulated in their favor.
Yeah, Fuyushi finding that ending miss there is going to extend the score all the way to almost 30,000. Moths getting 991k on the dot. And we will see a Rise 5 pick from Fuyushi. This is our mixed stream pick. Kind of.
Yeah, this one definitely one of the most technical maps that we have like in our pool, or at least just the fact that it's technical, but it's also like very bursty in ways that's it's not as like unconventional as Luciferine is, as if you are familiar with the map itself. But once again, this one being Gaviscon, I actually want to point out that I'm kind of surprised that both these players actually banned Rice, especially both the speed and the jump stream picked in particular. Like, that was something I was not actually expecting going into this match, of all things. So yeah.
Very unexpected choice from their brands. We are seeing an early miss from Fuyushi. That is not a good sign for them.
Oh.
Very rough start. On these little bursts, it is quite scary. It's like a roll jump scare if you're not familiar with the map. That can happen potentially, and Fuyushi finding that miss is going to give Moths a very early lead, around 5,000 points. It's not over. There's still comeback potential here. These patterns are really awkward and techy to hit, but Moths is holding the amazing 9.9 accuracy right now. While Fuyushi is trying to catch up on Ak, but score lead is staying at the 9,000 range already.
Yeah, I feel that miss from Fuyushi really set the two apart by a very big margin, just going off the fact that it was during a very calm and tame part of the song as well, so you don't really get into much of the source that the map has to offer until like here, whereas it is very filled to the brim with a lot of these trills at 270 BPM and a lot of these really technical fiasco, this in general, like just being thrown at you But even then, both these players are actually managing really well. Even with the one miss from Fuyushi, they are still comboing the rest of the map. It's really just Moths that has such a big advantage here. But even then, it's only just 10,000 points to spare. So any drop from the side of Moths here can definitely cost them the lead, especially going into the final quarter of the map, in which is going to happen, in which is going to need to happen for Fuyushi to really bring things back here.
Fuyushi stabilizing their accuracy at around 9.38, around that range, while Moths is, what is his accuracy? 9.87. There's nothing much Fuyushi can do aside from waiting for a miss, but that is not what you're looking for. Missing at that one part that's going to extend the score lead to 23,000. It's basically the end of the map with some final throw. I think there's a final throw in this map. Yep,
yeah, this is the section. This is the section. It doesn't seem like there's enough time. This section is still really short, and it closes right after. And Fuyushi taking a final drop that is going to really end it off on a bit of a trip, as Moths makes it 6,000 points in their favor.
Yeah, already going to the 64,000 score lead, winning by around another 30k. Fuyushi finding the ending miss there is gonna really give the score lead for Moths. Moths holding a single 100, and this is like 1-13 ratio, which is just insane to me.
Damn. Yeah, that is definitely insane. I feel like here both these players are, I believe here, like Fuyushi in general, I feel has the potential to really show off when it comes to a lot of these Rice picks. But even then, like, from what I've seen in the qualifiers, both these players are kind of equalized when it comes to earlier game performances. It's really just consistency on the side of Fuyushi that needs to really have some irons out. But even then, like going up against the likes of Moths in the early game is going to be a bit of an uphill challenge by no means. So, but even then, going into Swan Song going to be Rise 3. So far, Moths at about a 60,000 point advantage. They still got a lot of time to really accumulate, or just to really try punching their way to at least getting the right amount of points that they're going to need for the rest of the match, as this is only just the third pick, as we've seen here.
Keep in mind, this has a system of the tournament is to get a good cumulative score gap, and right now Moths is just taking it with 64,000, and so far this pick,
Fuyushi, I am begging you, please do not drop on this burst. I am not cursing right
the
there.
9.9 here.
Yeah, that is actually really insane. This is actually a lot closer than some of the other maps we've seen so far. So far, Fuyushi actually catching onto Moths by the arm here, but even then, it's not really by so much either. So far, the consistency seems to favor Moths a lot more, especially in terms of stability, as Fuyushi has gone a bit worse ratio, and even then, dropping almost under the 99.70% accuracy mark. There's still quite out of the map left. A lot of these bursts, a lot of these jacks as well, you at least have to act, in which Moths has been pulling a lot of straws to be able to at least make sure that each of these patterns are done, or at least to a degree that is of satisfaction to them. But even then, that's going to spell out to Fuyushi that they're going to have to really try their best to at least maintain everything, because there is still the hidden fear of just simply missing on a part like this, where you go into the final chorus, where you have a lot of these patterns being thrown at you, basically final culmination of what you would have learned throughout this map. We see a bunch of yellow 300s coming out from the side of Fuyushi here, which is going to spell some problems if the stability gets a bit worse, in case the fatigue gets even worse, as this map still kind of lets up. But was that great I just saw?
Moths' consistency in these picks are just out of this world. 9.94 as we approach the end of the map. Fuyushi finding a miss there is gonna be really bad. That is not what Fuyushi is looking for. He was holding a very solid accuracy as well, but finding that miss is gonna drop their accuracy all the way back to 9.6, and Moths is gonna take it once again with Oh my god. 8K, are you kidding me?
92 perfects. What are you doing? But even
Fuyushi
then,
was doing really well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, even while Moths had like a really dominant score, Fuyushi really did well in at least trying to make sure that the score lead wasn't like that far deep into their end, because otherwise, if it did turn out to be that, then that could have basically spelled danger for them if they were to not win anything else. As this is only the third pick of the round, so for the fifth pick especially, Moths is gonna need at least 100,000 points to be able to just hold a map there. But even then, going into Hybrid 2, that's going to be Moths' next verdict, as we can see.
This is our more tech hybrid. This is a very... This map consists of a lot of graces and different snapping bursts, which... From what we saw in Hybrid 3, Fuyushi definitely not having the best time in getting accuracy on hybrids, and Hybrid 2 is definitely much more difficult to get accuracy on compared to Hybrid 3, and Moths picking this is definitely a really scary pick for Fuyushi.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in general, it's really just the fact that when it comes to a lot of these more ACK-oriented patterns, or maps in general, where you really just need to ensure that you have everything intact to be able to at least maintain the highest possible accuracy you can on like any map. I mean, this goes without saying as well, just in general, like maps like this, it's really just a lot more experimental, I'd say, when it comes to how it utilizes a lot of these short LNs and these graces as well, which already seem to be throwing Fuyushi off, not having as much of a clean start as Moths here. On the contrary, while we go into a bit of a more calm jazz section, you get you get like some of the shuffles like thrown in, while you have like some vocals come in as well, sort of introducing the map and its name. But even a Moths lead has increased to about 7,000 points of a margin, so definitely a lot of time and breathing room for Moths to really have here. They're going to really need to keep this up for a good portion of the map if they want to be able to at least try and get a big score gap when winning this map. At least put that in their nose, yeah.
Definitely a full percent behind Moths right now in terms of accuracy. Both players holding the full combo, but Moths is already getting a very solid accuracy. But Moths does find an accuracy drop in that one section here, dropping the score lead back to 8,000, 9,000, but it's still very much in favor of Moths right now, having a comfortable score lead here, especially when he does have an 80,000 score lead overall. Fuyushi definitely needs to try to keep the combo and accuracy and hope for some bad misses from Moths to hopefully bring it back. But is there enough time is the question. There is still 1/1 of the way left of the map, but Fuyushi's gonna find a miss there on the near... It's kind of a break part, but the rhythm is too complex. Like, finding a miss there is not like... It's not impossible.
I mean, that's just what you get from like a lot of rhythm game music or just jazz music like this that are just a lot more contemporary on the other hand. Just the fact that you just have a lot of these like sections in the song where it's just really complex, especially with how the song just utilizes the bloody piano. Like at this point, like literally just going all over the scale. Like it just does not stick to just one gun, like at all. It just keeps switching between pistols and revolvers. But even then, that is actually going to be working in the favor of Moths here, getting about 36,000 points of a difference. So getting over that 1,000 score mark, that is exactly what they would have needed, even with some of these, I believe it's some slider breaks that we would have seen, like at some point, either it was or wasn't. But even then, this has basically just done the job for Moths if they can at least try their best to go through the rest of the match. But even then, it seems like we're going to be advancing into the second band phase here for the time being.
After 4 maps, we do see a whopping 118,000 score lead for Moths, getting 250s on Hybrid 2, and despite that, still getting 990k is something that's very remarkable and very impressive, as you would expect from a seed-free player. Fuyushi not too bad at the score, but the accuracy game is definitely in favor of moths right now. We'll see a second ban. I think moths is gonna ban LN1 actually.
Definitely makes a little more sense. I think Muffs might have at least looked over the statistics a bit and assumed that Fuyushi is a lot more equalized with them when it comes to Alan, or at least like maybe it may or may not be a really close call for them in that regard. Just the fact that we're going to be seeing Fuyushi ban Alan 2 as well, so that's both coordination and density taken off the pool for that matter. Probably both these players are a lot more confident when it comes to the more technical aspect of things. But even then, Fuyushi, on the other hand, or at least compared to Muffs here, not really having the brightest of days when it came to at least various of these more technical maps here, unfortunately. But even then, going for Hybrid 1, definitely a sensible change of pace, I would say here. Just going off the fact that this is a little more straightforward in comparison to the other maps that we have seen thus far, especially when it comes to hybrids and all that. But even then, there is still a bunch of technical tomfoolery that is incorporated in Daikurai in specific. Just gonna have to see how this one goes.
Rice 1, Rice 2 ban, and then LN1 and LN2 ban. A lot of generic picks are just gone.
I mean, I guess it's just the type of thing you get with like some of these matches. I mean, both these players, I guess, maybe not too confident when it comes to certain maps, maybe, or at least like they know that some of these maps are a bit more straightforward, so they don't want to really like go off of some of them because they know that because they probably feel like they have the idea that one another can probably have such a dangerous advantage on them, and Fuyushi are going to be taking the first drop. That's actually going to be pretty detrimental, especially with this one being their own pick. The amount of breakpoints that we've seen Muffs snag off of Fuyushi here throughout this match has definitely been a cause for concern throughout this entire match. Just the fact that Muffs has already just enough points to really call the map. Even after this one ends, Fuyushi still has not won a single map into their favor.
That was not a very good start for Fuyushi, already back to the 98 range with some misses at those shields. This map is a lot of shield heavy sections in the first half, but we will move on to a more jump stream-ish part in the next second here. But Fuyushi finding a miss at the very beginning of that part is going to extend the score to 25,000 from Moths with 99.87.
Oh, yeah, okay. That is definitely going to be a bit of a bad sign. Just the fact that Moth so far has been really consistent with the accuracy all around, especially looking at the UR. There was only really just small tidbits where you can at least see some green vegetables on the bottom of the scoreline here, or at least on the accuracy bar. But even then, for Fuyushi here, you just see a lot more of these vegetables being thrown around like it's Fruit Ninja, like on the bottom, especially with this tempo change. There's just so much that you can see on the side of Fuyushi that it's just really difficult to really patch things up there in general, just to really ensure that you can at least have some sort of equal footing with Moths. And even then, taking some of these breaks here, not really too comfortable with some of these short LNs as well that are just infused with some of these stream-oriented patterns that you can see just infused with a lot of these hypers. And even then, it's really just an act battle here, but even then, it's very, very biased onto Muffs here from what we can see as the map slowly just about closes out.
Fuyushi finding the last slider break there just gives the Moths a very, very big lead. 40,000 score. 41,000 actually. 994k on Hybrid 1. Wow. Just
wow.
a insane performance from Moths. I think this is going to be the end because I think after 5 maps, if you have the score lead of about 100,000, you do just win this match. And yeah, seems like this is going to end with 5 maps and Moths with a whopping 159,600 score lead. It's going to take it and push Fuyushi off to the losers bracket and continue fighting in the winners bracket on round of 32.
Yeah, once again, both these players pulled a lot of efforts to really at least put on a pretty good fight with each other, especially on maps where it definitely looked as if there could have been at least some advantages on like one side. If only, I don't know, if there was some what if situation, but even then, unfortunately, those what ifs are not really going to matter in the end, as Moths is going to be taking it by a pretty strong margin as well. Once again, as we can see, both these players actually going to be faced, and so far we already kind of have some information about what both these players are going to be facing next week. So they're going to be facing between Senkyu or Monarchies for next week in the round of 32. Either one of them going to have to at least fight to stay in the winner's bracket next week, or to fight to the death over in the loser's bracket.
Just best of luck to those two players. This will be interesting to see them perform in the next round. I think Fuyushi definitely has some good accuracies on the, especially on the rice picks. Just finding some unfortunate misses there, but all things considered, the accuracy isn't too bad, and we will stay tuned for their performance in the losers bracket. And for Moths, I don't even know what to say. Their accuracy is just, it's just crazy.
Yeah, that guy's gonna have a hell of a run throughout this entire tournament, but so far we do have another match in about 40 minutes from now, which is gonna be between none other than How to Play SV and Old Pigeon. So there is only just there's only really 6 matches left of this weekend, so if you are still interested, hope I'm not making this too boring, but we hope to see you all then as we close the stream off. For time being.
Yeah. This is going to be the end of the stream here. Best of luck to those two players in both winners and losers bracket. And yeah, that is about it. Anything else you want to close the stream for?
Double bacon cheeseburger.
Yeah, that is how you end the stream. And that'll be it.
End it off with a bang.
Of course. Alright. See you everyone around. Thank you for staying around and see ya.
Take care. Drink water.